Hello, I'm Rick Stivers of the YoungMartin'sReels. Today we're going to talk about something just a little, or work a project just a little bit different. Most of my videos in the past have been about taking an old reel, servicing it, cleaning it up, and getting it out the door. We weren't too concerned with what it looked like cosmetically. Well, today we've got a fishing reel. It is a Daiwa 7290C. Now I know I've already done one of these, and you're going to see if you go out and do a search for it on the web, you'll find the video of just a regular service on that one. We're going to be doing another one. This one is a little different because mechanically it was in really good condition. Cosmetically, it was horrible. So what I did, we're tearing it down, and I blasted it down with walnut holes. And then I repainted it. And I wanted something that the reel is maybe worth $5, maybe 10. But I wanted it to go into the hands of a kid who would be appreciative of being able to take it out and go fishing with it. So this is what we have here. We have the Daiwa 7290C, and we're going to tear it down. I'm not going to show you me out at my sandblaster, sandblasting it with walnut holes or anything, or repainting it. You're going to see it all torn down, and then you're going to see it repainted, and then we're going to reassemble it. All right, so hopefully you'll enjoy this video. This has been a long time in coming. I tore this reel down and videoed it 3 or 4 months ago, and the reel has been sitting this entire time waiting for me to get it done. I decided last night, hey, let's go ahead and get it out. I had it in soaking, and I got it out. I was trying to loosen up the finish on it because the finish you'll see in the video is in really bad shape. But what was there was in really good shape, so it was kind of difficult to get it off. The new rattle can finish, no, it probably won't stay on there very long. And maybe this reel will only go out for another 2 or 3 years. But if it gets out there and some kid enjoys it, they're going to like the color. They're going to have fun with it. And that's what I'm after. Because this goes back to the old videos that I was doing, the beginning of this is going to be very, very poor quality video because that camera just wasn't capable of giving the high quality images that this camera is. Today, we're going to kind of work on this almost basket case. It looks like it's going to be a basket case. The outside is completely eat up with corrosion, but this Daiwa 7290C still works quite well. The anti-reverse works on it. The only thing that seems to be having a little bit of a trouble is the bail, and it doesn't want to trip, but I think we can take care of that. Not too difficult. So what we're going to do with this reel, since the outside is so eat up, we're going to do something that I've never done before on a reel. We're going to take this one completely apart. This is going to be done in stages, but when you see this video, it will all be completed in one stage. But we're going to take this reel apart, and I'm going to remove all the paint and corrosion off of this, and we're going to repaint it with epoxy black appliance paint. And I just can't send this reel back out there looking like this, even though it's perfectly functional. It will fish beautifully. I don't want to send it out there so ugly that some kid won't want to fish with it. So we're going to clean it up. When we're done, it not only will fish good, but it will look good again. I mean, obviously it's not a collectible reel, so it's not going to be sitting in that kind of status. But I want you to see what was going to happen. I'm going to be forthright and upfront with what we're going to do. And here we go. Let's give this thing a start. First thing we'll do is take the spool off. Okay, spool's off. It actually looks fairly clean inside. Let's see if we can't free it up just a little bit on the wire bail. We're starting to run low on my WD-40 here. I've been told that I really should move away from WD-40 and move over to PB Blaster. So I bought a can of PB Blaster just to try that with. Okay, I'm looking at the bail release down here. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on, why it didn't trip. Okay, it comes around, it hits. There it goes. Let's bring it around again, try it again. It's got some grit in it. Okay, so we'll work it back and forth a few times, see if we can free that up a little bit. I'm going to be taking that off because this whole assembly is going to get repainted. But I want to get it working. There we go. Alright, now let's see if it operates from the handle. There we go. Okay, so basically the only problem with the bail was a lubrication problem. Okay, so we'll take care of that, get that cleaned up. Alright, next thing we're going to do is remove the handle. It comes off in the clockwise position. Then we're going to remove these 3 screws. Or at least that's the plan. And maybe this will die a short death. It actually looks quite nice inside. We're going to pull this pin, which now allows us to pull out the axle shaft, which then allows us to remove the crosswind block. Alright, now we're going to need to remove this C-clip right here, which holds the rotor on. Alright, and then that will slide off. Okay. Alright, from there we should be able to slide the main gear out. The main gear looks very nice. Okay, we're going to leave that in. I'm not going to take that all apart inside there. I'm going to pack that with paper down inside there so that during the painting, well, no, we're going to need to remove that. No, that's staked in. So I'm going to have to leave that in place and kind of paint around it. So I will have to paint it in one spot and then move the lever and paint it again to get it fully painted there. But we're going to put this whole thing into soak just a few minutes. What we want to do here is go ahead and take the bail apart. Normally we don't take the bail off, but since this is going to be going in for a repaint, then we're going to need to. Okay, it's got the spring off, or the screw out. Okay, notice the spring is in the hook right here. We're going to lift that out. Okay, let's come around to the other side and remove this screw. Alright, that then should remove this side of the bail spring. Yeah, there's a lot of dirt up underneath there. Okay, that released that, which now allows the spring to come out for cleaning. And the only thing left over here is to remove our trip release. The rotor, actually, once it's out, looks good. So I think we can possibly get by without repainting the rotor. No. Well, we'll see. Let's wipe it down. Let's see here. Paint's marred up here, 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 here. Okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and repaint this rotor as well. So that gives us the rotor. That gives us the body here. That was the screw for the bail. Okay. We can leave that in because it's not affecting anything. That's your anti-reverse. But we'll clean up all of this out here. Yeah, this is completely eat up. So we're going to clean all this up, sand it down, and repaint it and see if we can't come up with a nice pretty reel again. Granted, this reel is not worth all that effort. This is $5, $10 reel at best, maybe 15. But the whole idea of Young Martin's Reels is to try to take something that no longer is functional or fishable, and try to return it back to what it was. So that's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to move all this into an alcohol bath, let it soak for a few days, and when it comes out, hopefully we can get this paint off. Okay, the last time you saw this reel, it was in a sad state of affairs. Everything was torn down on it. All the parts were still greasy, and the paint was bad and corroded. And now we moved on to took and media blasted the whole thing down with walnut holes and repainted it. And we're going to reassemble it and hopefully find it a home out there. So here we go. First thing we're going to want to do is put this gear back in. And we will lubricate the shaft with oil. Remember, don't lose this shim washer right here. Put that in. Let's spin it around and let's activate the anti-reverse. Okay, it's working beautifully. Now that we know that that's working, we can go ahead, pop this out, turn the anti-reverse back off, pop this back out, and let's go ahead and grease it. Set it back into the body. All right, that works fine. Next thing we're going to want to do is put the rotor back on. So let's go ahead and grease the riding points and the gear itself. And we're going to grease inside here where that's going to ride. Slip it back on. It should turn freely, which it does. Now we've got to come back and put this C-clip back on. Or horseshoe clip, whatever you want to call it. It slides in behind it right there, and that holds that rotor in. I'll go ahead and rotate the rotor around until we have the crosswind block post on the main gear to the rear. Let's grease up our crosswind block. And we can set it in place like that. And I believe that I've got this the right way. If I don't, I'll let you know. Next comes the axle shaft. We're going to slide it in. Get it into the crosswind block. Find your hole. There's the hole. And we're going to slide that in until that hole meets up with the hole in here. You can use a pick or something to align it. And drop the pin back in. Now, in order to prevent corrosion on this, what I'm going to do is go ahead and this whole assembly was soaked in alcohol and acetone, and it's kind of raw. And so I'm going to put a little grease onto everything just to make sure that corrosion can't get onto these parts. I want to make sure that they're well lubricated and protected. All right, we're going to go ahead and screw the handle back on to hold everything in there. And it allows us to do a quick ops check and make sure all this is working as advertised. And it does. It works great. Okay. With that working like it's supposed to, we can come back and put the cover back on. Remember, don't tighten the screws all the way down until you've got all 3 screws in. Okay, cover's on. Everything's working as advertised. it's time to reinstall this trip lever. And it's been a long time since I took this out of here. So I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put it back. All right, I've just taken all this back apart and I'm shooting it again because for some reason my camera didn't film any of the final assembly of this. So we're going back. So if you see things that look like they're already lubricated, it's because it was. Things were lubricated as I put it all together, and then it ended up, for whatever reason, not recording. All right. You see that we have this slot right here, and that slot is where our trip release is going to ride. Trip release will slip in like this from over in this direction. Okay, then we're going to trip it up, get it sitting. Now, don't let it go in too far, it'll jam itself. All right, once you've got it to that point, I use a screw starter because my fingers don't like to get in there. If you don't have one, I'm sorry, you might want to acquire one. If you do, if you got little fingers, then you don't need one. All right, what we're going to do, I'm going to turn this around so you can see it, hopefully. And we're going to put this screw in here, and we're going to get it started in this hole. All right, once you get it started, then you want to get it down to where it goes all the way down. But you got to get it past, get the trip lever past the shoulder that's on the screw. So you just keep working it down a little at a time. There we go. Now it's on past the screw. Okay, our spring is going to fit over the head of the screw. And here's how I put it in. I hold it with a pair of needle nose, slip it in, get it to go in around the head, and then I simply back it over to behind and drop it in behind and drop it onto the trip lever. Just like that. Okay. Once that's done, we're ready to start installing the bail. Now I start off on the spring side of the bail. And I do it by, if you look at your spring, I'll tell you what, let's do. My hands keep getting in the way, and every time they do, it changes the focus. So we're going to focus this and hopefully get it straight. And hopefully it'll stay focused on the part and not on my hands. Okay, we're going to take this spring that has this, it's got two outputs. One goes to the side and one goes up and has a hook. We're going to take the one that goes out to the side and drop it in to this slot right here. Once we've done that, we're going to take our trip lever inside, move it over out of the way. Then we're going to take this hook side and hook it in this hole on our bail, like so. Once we've done that, go ahead and move it over top of the hole right there. See that hole? And that's where you want to put your big screw. And again, this screw also has a shoulder just like the other one. If you just crank it down and don't get the shoulder to fit down into the bail, it's just going to tighten down on the bail and lock it. Once you've got that, bring this piece up. You have to make this turn with it before you put it on, otherwise this piece won't fit on. Okay, line up the hole for the chrome piece. And that chrome piece actually is a retainer. Let's set the focus again. Get it started. All right. See if our bail trips, and it does. The spool assembly has already been lubricated in a previous video that actually didn't end up taking. So, but we're going to go ahead and do it again. Now, if you look down inside here, that felt washer right here is going to ride on side here. So we're going to go ahead and add a little lubricant there. Put in our felt washer and put a little lubricant on that. You want that felt washer to be saturated with oil. Put your final washer in, and now you're ready for your hexagon shaped spring to go in. I use a screwdriver to help it get it in. There we go. Once you get it down in there, it should drop in and lock in to the groove. At that point, you're ready to either grease or oil this spacer washer right here. Check your spring at the bottom. This is for your drag. Slide it on and install your drag nut. And there you have the Daiwa 7290D, or is it? Yep, D. And there's our trip for our bail. If it's still not tripping good, go ahead and add yourself a drop of oil here. Drop of oil here for the spring. Put a drop of oil here. And that should take care of any tripping issues that you have. Flip your anti-reverse. Your anti-reverse is working. And that completes our Daiwa 7290D repaint. And I don't plan to do a lot of these. If you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button. If you didn't like it, I understand. Some people don't agree with repainting fishing reels. They like to try to keep things authentic. They think it's part of the history of the reel and it should stay. But this one was in such bad shape cosmetically that I just couldn't see anybody even wanting to take it out fishing. So it's got a repaint job. And if you'd like to see more videos like this and you haven't previously subscribed, please do so. And you will be getting notification for upcoming videos. For now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels signing out.